My name is Emily Davis, and I'm 33 years old. I live in a cozy bungalow in suburban Chicago with my husband and our 6-year-old daughter, Lily. By day, I work as an elementary school teacher at Roosevelt Elementary School. I love guiding young minds through reading and math, watching their eyes light up when they finally understand. On weekends, I'm the kind of mom who meticulously plans birthday parties with homemade decorations and themed cupcakes. I believe every milestone deserves a celebration filled with joy, laughter, and lasting memories. Little did I know that this particular celebration would turn into the worst day of my life. The day arrived early on a sunny Saturday in late June, the air thick with summer warmth. Our backyard was decked out with pastel balloons, streamers, and a rainbow-colored bounce house. I had baked Lily's favorite chocolate cake with vanilla buttercream frosting the night before. Fresh lemonade and trays of mini hot dogs were ready on the picnic table under the gazebo. My husband, Mark, was grilling burgers and telling corny jokes to our guests already arriving. I felt a flutter of excitement as cousins, aunts, uncles, and close friends gathered around. Everything looked perfect, just as any doting mother would want for her daughter. Among the first to arrive were my parents, graciously offering to help set up the tables. Then my younger brother, Jake, showed up in his usual casual attire and carefree attitude. Jake is 30 years old and works in graphic design, always sporting a relaxed smile. He gave Lily a quick hug and teased her with a plastic pirate sword he brought as a gift. My mother fussed over the decorations, straightening the tablecloth and adjusting the centerpiece. My father made small talk about the summer weather and how fast Lily was growing. At that moment, I felt surrounded by love and support, or so I thought. The party kicked off with games, pin the tail on the donkey, a 3-legged race, and musical chairs. Laughter echoed across the yard as children darted between lawn sprinklers to cool off. Inside, the chatter of adults mingled with the pop of soda cans and the hum of air conditioning. I snapped photos of Lily winning her race, her pigtails flying as she crossed the finish line. Jake cheered the loudest, clapping his hands with a grin that looked a little too amused. I chalked it up to sibling rivalry and nudged him lightly, whispering to be gentle. Deep down, I wondered what his mood had been like that morning. After the cake-cutting ceremony, Lily sat proudly with frosting smeared across her cheeks. Jake leaned over to give her a congratulatory high five. Suddenly, his expression shifted from playful to irritated in a heartbeat. Before anyone could react, his hand shot out and struck Lily's cheek with a sharp slap. Time seemed to stand still as I heard the sickening smack of hand against skin. Lily's rosy cheeks flushed crimson, tears welling in her wide, shocked eyes. A hush fell over the yard as every guest turned to witness the unexpected violence. For a moment, stunned silence reigned. Then my parents burst into laughter. My mother covered her mouth, her eyes twinkling with what looked like amusement. My father slapped his knee and chuckled, saying it was just a harmless joke. I stared at them, disbelief mingling with rage as Lily whimpered softly. The laughter felt like a knife twisting in my chest, as if their joy was mocking my pain. Other guests glanced nervously, unsure whether to intervene or join in the awkward mirth. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding as I struggled to process what I was seeing. My voice trembled when I finally spoke up. That wasn't funny. You heard her, Jake. His smirk faded, replaced with a sheepish shrug as he muttered, I got carried away. My mother waved me off, insisting, She'll be fine, Emily. Kids are resilient. But I saw Lily's small hand rub her cheek, her bottom lip trembling. The protective instinct of a mother roared to life inside me, fierce and unyielding. I clenched my fists, feeling anger and fear twist into resolve. No amount of teasing or laughter would make this right. I knew I had to act. I backed away from the group and dialed 911 on my phone with shaky fingers. My voice was steady but urgent as I explained, my 6-year-old daughter was slapped by a family member. The dispatcher assured me help was on the way and stayed on the line as I described our location. I glanced over my shoulder to see Jake leaning against the fence, arms crossed defiantly. My parents' laughter had died down, replaced now by awkward shifting and uneasy glances. I felt a pang of guilt. Calling the police on my own brother felt drastic, but I couldn't ignore justice. For Lily's sake, I was willing to bear the fallout from this decision. Guests murmured among themselves, forming small clusters of whispered speculation. Some parents hustled their children away, unwilling to stick around for the drama. A couple of friends placed comforting hands on my shoulders, offering silent support. The birthday balloons swayed gently in the breeze, a stark contrast to the tension below. Mark reached for my hand, squeezing it tightly, his eyes filled with concern and pride. I inhaled deeply, bracing myself for what was to come, my heart pounding in my ears. The hum of the grill faded into the background as we waited for the authorities. Suddenly, the piercing wail of a police siren cut through the summer air. Red and blue lights danced across the patio, reflecting off the disposable plates and plastic cups. My parents froze, their faces paling as the reality of the situation sank in. Jake pushed off the fence, his smug expression replaced by guilt and uncertainty. Lily buried her face in my shoulder, her small body trembling with fear and confusion. I knelt down, wrapping my arms around her, whispering, "It's okay, baby. I'm here." As the officers stepped onto our lawn, the echo of laughter vanished into strained silence. The officers introduced themselves as Sergeant Harris and Officer Nguyen. They asked me to recount exactly what happened, and I found my voice steadier than I expected. I watched Jake's face as I described the slap, noting how his jaw tightened. Mark stood beside me, his hand on the small of my back, grounding me. Lily clung to my leg, her eyes wide but trusting in my presence. My parents hovered behind us, silent and ashamed under the flashing lights. I realized in that moment that family loyalty would never trump my daughter's safety. After taking statements, the officers escorted Jake to their cruiser for questioning. I followed them onto the front porch, heart pounding as I watched the back seat door close. Jake's head lowered against the headrest, the defiant spark gone from his eyes. Sergeant Harris assured me they'd file a report and check on Lily's well-being. Officer Nguyen offered to stay until I felt safe bringing Lily inside. I nodded gratefully, guiding my trembling daughter back into the house. The screen door slammed shut behind us, leaving only distant sirens echoing. Inside, the party had dissolved into awkward clusters and half-packed coolers. My mother hovered by the kitchen counter, her hands twisting the edge of a napkin. My father avoided my gaze, fiddling with the light switch by way of distraction. Mark put Lily on the couch and fetched her a soft blanket from the bedroom. I knelt beside her, checking for bruises, reassuring her with gentle strokes. She whispered, "Mama, is Uncle Jake in trouble?" Her voice a fragile thread. I swallowed hard, promising her that I'd protect her always, no matter what. Once Lily seemed calm, Mark and I guided her upstairs to change into pajamas. I tucked her in with her favorite stuffed rabbit, reading her a short bedtime story. Mark lingered in the doorway, his expression a mix of relief and worry. I kissed Lily's forehead, whispering, "Sweet dreams, my brave girl." As the door clicked shut, the weight of tonight's events settled heavily on us. In our dimly lit bedroom, we stood facing each other, words unspoken. He pulled me close, and we held on to each other as if to anchor against uncertainty. The next morning, the media had not arrived, but my phone buzzed with concerned messages. Friends and neighbors expressed shock and solidarity, offering rides or babysitting. I appreciated their support, but the reality of legal proceedings loomed over me. Sergeant Harris called to say the report was filed and a protective order was possible. I spent the afternoon researching child protection laws in Illinois, determined to act. Mark joined me, and together we drafted an email to our attorney for advice. Every legal term felt foreign, but every click brought me closer to justice for Lily. That evening, we held a small family meeting in the living room. My parents sat on the couch, looking remorseful and uncertain what to say. Jake remained upstairs, his absence leaving an echo in the silence. I spoke first, explaining that apologies were important but not enough. Lily needed to feel safe around her uncle, and boundaries had to be set. My mother's eyes filled with tears as she promised to support any decision. My father nodded quietly, finally meeting my gaze with genuine concern. Over the next week, I balanced schoolwork with court dates and therapy sessions. Lily saw a child counselor who helped her express fear and confusion in art. I sat in the waiting room, heart hammered, until the therapist assured me Lily was healing. At work, colleagues offered sympathetic smiles but respected my privacy. I described my absence vaguely as a family emergency, avoiding painful details. In the evenings, Mark and I planned family activities to restore normalcy for Lily. Each small outing felt like a victory, proof that life could continue despite trauma. On the day of the first hearing, I arrived at the courthouse early, nerves taut. Jake appeared in the back row, escorted by a different officer this time. He avoided my eyes, staring at the floor as his name was called. The judge listened to our statements, then granted a temporary restraining order. I exhaled a breath I didn't know I'd been holding, tears pricking my eyelids. Lily stayed with my parents during the hearing, unaware of the gravity. When I reunited with her afterward, her small arms wrapped around me tightly. In the following days, Jake attended anger management classes as mandated. He reached out with a handwritten note, expressing remorse and shame. I debated whether to engage, but ultimately chose controlled forgiveness. I replied, outlining clear conditions for any future interaction with Lily. My parents acted as intermediaries, bridging our fractured family dynamic. Although the road to reconciliation was long, my daughter's safety came first. I felt a cautious hope that boundaries could heal wounds over time. By the end of the chapter, summer's heat had eased into early July's mild evenings. Lily danced barefoot on the front lawn, her laughter a balm to my soul. Mark grilled dinner while I watched from the porch, feeling gratitude bloom. The police report sat filed, and the restraining order gave me a fragile peace. I realized that standing up for my child had changed our family forever. Yet in the warm glow of that sunset, I sensed resilience strengthening within us. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I knew I would face them with unwavering resolve. The first weeks after the restraining order felt surreal, like navigating a dream. Lily woke each morning with renewed confidence, her smile brighter than before. I dropped her off at summer camp, watching her wave without a trace of fear. Returning home, Mark and I reviewed bills and emails, a new normal settling in. The emptiness of one absent adult at breakfast was still strange and heavy. My parents began alternating visits to spend time with Lily under my watchful eye. I felt gratitude for their efforts, even as worry lingered in the back of my mind. Meanwhile, Jake dutifully attended his anger management sessions twice a week. He confided to our mother that he was confronting old resentments and guilt. My parents relayed his progress, describing tears and honest self-reflection. Despite this, I found myself questioning whether apologies could heal a child's scars. At times, I replayed the moment of the slap, my heart tightening at the memory. Mark reminded me that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but protecting our peace. I resolved to wait until both Jake and Lily were ready, whatever time that took. One evening, my mother tentatively asked if Lily could meet Jake in the park. She proposed a brief, supervised visit to test Lily's comfort around her uncle. I hesitated, recalling Lily's fear, but I trusted the counselor's advice on gradual exposure. Mark and I agreed, but insisted on strict boundaries and my presence at all times. The following day, we met at Lincoln Park under a canopy of oak trees. Jake arrived with a picnic basket, pale and uncertain, clutching a stuffed giraffe. Lily's eyes widened at his approach, her small hand slipping into mine. I knelt beside Lily, encouraging her gently to open up her palm to Jake's gift. He offered the giraffe with a quiet apology in his voice, avoiding eye contact. Lily examined the toy before sliding it into her backpack with careful deliberation. Jake sat at a respectful distance, speaking in soft tones about a shared memory. He described how he used to make animal puppets for her kindergarten shows. Lily listened, her expression thoughtful, as if weighing his sincerity. I observed their exchange, heart fluttering between hope and apprehension. Slowly, a tentative conversation blossomed, and Lily's laughter trickled like sunshine. Jake's smile returned, gentle and genuine, as he engaged her in a puzzle game. For a moment, the tension of that awful day felt worlds away, replaced by connection. Then, without meaning to, Jake raised his voice when Lily hesitated over a piece. The sharpness in his tone startled us both, and Lily flinched, clutching the puzzle. I felt a familiar knot in my chest, the old fear resurfacing like a tide, but Jake's eyes filled with regret instantly, and he lowered his voice to a whisper apology. We ended the visit early, the sun dipping below the skyline as we said our goodbyes. Jake stood awkwardly as Lily waved, his posture uncertain, but his face hopeful. I thanked him for his patience and reiterated the rules: kindness, calm, respect. He nodded solemnly, placing a cautious hand over his heart in silent promise. Driving home, I watched Lily doze in the back seat, her breath even and peaceful. Mark reached over, fingers brushing mine, offering a reassuring squeeze. I allowed myself a small, guarded smile, feeling progress amid the complexity. Back at Roosevelt Elementary, I found myself distracted during class, scanning my phone. A neighbor had texted asking for details about the courthouse drama, and I withdrew. I realized that the story had spread further than I wanted, whispers trailing me. Colleagues approached with concern veiled as curiosity, testing my boundaries. I politely deflected questions, reminding myself that privacy was a right, not a privilege. That afternoon, I took the students outside for reading time under a willow tree. Their giggles and simple joys reminded me why I fought so hard to protect innocence. That weekend, my parents invited Mark, Lily, and me to dinner at their house. The table was set in the backyard, lanterns glowing as twilight settled. I felt a nervous flutter, uncertain whether the setting was a trap or a gesture of peace. Jake joined us, his presence tentative but welcomed by my parents' hopeful smiles. We sat across from each other, the cool breeze carrying the scent of rosemary chicken. Conversation started cautiously. Weather, Lily's camp sketches, school plans. I monitored every exchange, ready to intervene at the first sign of trouble. Halfway through dinner, Jake cleared his throat, voice steadying with sincerity. He spoke of regret for his actions, acknowledging the pain he inflicted on Lily. Tears welled in his eyes as he surveyed our faces, bracing for rejection. My mother dabbed her cheek with a napkin, overcome by emotion at his apology. Lily, seated beside me, reached out to hold my hand, seeking my approval. Mark squeezed my shoulder, reminding me that healing is a process, not an event. I lifted Lily's hand and nodded at Jake, offering a bridge neither of us fully trusted. We lingered at the table long after plates were cleared, savoring the fragile warmth. Lantern light shimmered on Jake's face as he and Lily built a small pebble tower. Laughter returned in soft waves, tentative but genuine, weaving through the night air. I leaned back, exhaling the tension I hadn't realized I'd been holding. My parents smiled, their earlier laughter replaced by a humbled pride in our resilience. Mark wrapped an arm around my shoulders, and I rested my head against him. In that moment, I dared to believe that broken bonds could be mended, one careful step at a time. The season shifted from the blazing heat of summer to the crisp air of early October. It has been months since that terrible birthday party, and our lives have slowly found a new rhythm. Lily laughs freely now, her cheeks still rosy but unburdened by fear or confusion. I watch her chase squirrels in the yard, her ponytails bouncing like leaves in the wind. The restraining order has expired, but the boundaries we set remain firm and respected. Jake has attended every family gathering since, arriving with genuine warmth instead of tension. In these quiet moments, I realize how far we've all come, step by careful step. On a Saturday afternoon, we organized a small picnic at Grant Park by the lake. My parents baked homemade apple pie, the sweet scent mingling with the aroma of fallen leaves. Mark spread a blanket on the grass while Lily ran ahead to collect acorns. Jake arrived carrying a thermos of hot cider, his eyes reflecting an honest apology. He knelt beside Lily and helped her press acorns into a craft collage. For the first time, I saw genuine ease in his posture, as if forgiveness had lightened his shoulders. The soft chatter of our family felt like the closing note of a long and painful symphony. A week later, Lily invited Jake to help her with a school art project about our neighborhood. She sketched the skyline of Chicago with colorful markers, careful strokes of blue and gray. Jake offered tips on perspective, guiding her hand with gentle encouragement. I observed from the doorway, pride swelling in my chest at their collaborative energy. Their laughter over spilled paint felt like a balm to the memories of tears. When the project was complete, Lily presented it with shining eyes to her classmates. I captured a photo of their smiling faces, a testament to healing in progress. Therapy sessions continued, now more for maintenance than urgent care. Lily worked with her counselor through stories and drawings of happy and sad days. Jake attended parallel sessions where he confronted old patterns of anger. Each progress report described renewed empathy and accountability from him. My parents sat in on a session, learning how to support both of us with sensitivity. Together, we celebrated every breakthrough, from calm breathing exercises to honest apologies. Healing, I realized, was not a destination, but an ongoing journey we walked together. One crisp Sunday morning, I volunteered at Lily's school book fair. Jake stopped by to help carry boxes of new books into the gymnasium. He arranged colorful displays while teachers praised his thoughtfulness. The principal approached and thanked him for his contribution, unaware of our past. I felt a surge of gratitude. His continued kindness was a powerful form of redemption. Lily waved at her uncle from across the room, her grin wide and welcoming. The community's embrace reminded me that trust, once rebuilt, could ripple outward. As autumn deepened, we prepared for Halloween with carved pumpkins on the porch. Jake and Lily worked side by side, scooping out seeds and shaping toothy grins. I snapped pictures of their teamwork, the orange glow illuminating their focused faces. When trick-or-treaters arrived, Jake walked behind Lily, his hand hovering protectively. She skipped ahead, confident and secure, collecting candy with joyful abandon. My parents watched from a distance, their eyes misty with pride at our transformed family. That night, as we lit candles inside the hollowed gourds, I felt a quiet hope settle in my heart. Thanksgiving arrived with its promise of gratitude and reflection. In my parents' dining room, a long table was adorned with turkey and autumn vegetables. We went around the table, each sharing something they were thankful for this year. Lily spoke first, saying she was grateful for hugs that didn't hurt and laughter that healed. Jake's voice trembled as he thanked us for giving him a chance to make amends. My mother closed her eyes, tears of relief sliding down her cheeks like gentle rain. As I clasped Mark's hand under the table, I felt the strength of our united family. The winter holiday season brought its own challenges and familiar traditions. We decorated our home with twinkling lights and evergreen wreaths on the front door. Lily helped Jake hang ornaments on the tree, choosing each one with care. He placed a star atop the highest branch, stepping back to admire their shared work. I served hot cocoa as they admired the glittering spectacle of glass and tinsel. In that cozy glow, I recognized that forgiveness wasn't forgetting, but choosing love again. The soft carols playing in the background felt like a benediction for our renewed bonds. On New Year's Eve, we gathered around the fireplace, celebratory and reflective. Lily counted down with excitement, her small voice echoing through the living room. At midnight, Jake hugged her gently, whispering promises of safety and respect. My parents joined us, their earlier laughter now seasoned with humility and wisdom. Mark kissed me, gratitude shining in his eyes for the courage I had shown. I kissed Lily's forehead, feeling the warmth of her trust ignite my resolve. As fireworks crackled in the Chicago sky, I welcomed the new year with open arms. Reflecting on this journey, I recognized the strength that comes from confrontation and compassion. Standing up for Lily changed us all, but guided us toward deeper empathy and honesty. The fear that once shadowed our home has been replaced by a cautious but steadfast hope. I know challenges may arise again, but I have witnessed the power of boundaries and love. Lily's laughter now echoes without hesitation, a tribute to our collective resilience. In the tapestry of our lives, this chapter marks not an end, but a promise of renewal. And as I tuck my daughter into bed tonight, I am certain that we will face tomorrow together, unbreakable,